Hi, everybody. We're at day 1,509 days since Richard was brutally, premeditatedly, code red, code red, murdered on Fort Bliss. On Fort Bliss. And after being severely, continuously retaliated against, brought before a masquerading court, a court with masquerading individuals that made it totally illegal, and was unlawfully imprisoned. Um, and all of this retaliation that was going on, and there was a lot of it. Of course, the Walmart mass shooting was part of it, and we received confirmation today that Richard's reports are being investigated more closely there is a connection. We know that there's a connection. And we're going to say we knew it. We've been right for a long time. We knew that he was murdered for a long time. And we knew there was foul play from the very beginning. Everything just stunk. It just stunk to high heaven. And of course, with time, we found out it was a code red. We received confirmation from federal agents today that absolutely this was a code red. Huge news today. I'm a little emotional because of everything that we have found out today, and lots going on in El Paso. So the federal agents are connecting Richard more closely than we have to the Walmart mass shooting. And they're also investigating the death of Glendon Oakley Jr. And if you don't know who Glendon Oakley Jr. is, I'm going to spend some time and then as soon as I can. It has been so crazy busy. Here we are. We're going to burn the midnight oil again. And we've been on this all day long. I took a break to be with my grandchildren. Absolutely on this all day, praying all day because of knowing what's going on in El Paso. And, things are just shaking. And now we have gotten confirmation from federal agents that Richard was a code red, that they are absolutely looking into his whistleblowing activity, what he knew about the Walmart mass shooting, and then also looking into the death of Glendon Oakley Jr. There's more. I'm not at liberty to say, but that is huge breaking news because of Team Farm Richard Halliday, all of you sticking with us, praying with us, having faith that we could move these mountains. And we are moving mountains in El Paso. And these mountains are like Mordor, they're like Mordor. They're ruled by, the father of lies with these rings that they've given to these certain people that think that they could just put El Paso along with Juarez. the El Paso area in darkness, and in, like demon possession. Um, and what do you call it when you have hundreds of thousands of children that are trafficked unaccompanied, and most of them are dead? And you have over it all this sex cult with the child pornography. The child pornography is a really big one in this, y'all. So it's a child trafficking, it's a child pornography. It is the exploitation of our military. It is business. It's all business, and it's very, very evil business. And Richard was an evil. He was going through that Vanity Fair, and he was saying, I'm not participating in it. I'm not participating in this Mordor um, lifestyle or Mordor culture environment. I'm not participating in it. Matter of fact, um, I'm going to pick up my sword of the Spirit. I'm going to record all this down. I'm going to report it. Uh, and of course, he became a whistleblower. And he told us it was so bad. When he said it was so bad, I had no idea because he kept repeating that. It's so bad. It is just so bad. Um, and now we can add to what he was reporting that he knew things about the Walmart mass shooting. So so this is not me saying this. This is law enforcement. And we were told today that he knew things about what was going on in the criminal activity and the Walmart mass shooting, that he was killed for it. They can't say his name. Literally. You know how you hear that? Say his name, say his name, say her name, say her name. They literally cannot bring Richard up. And Richard is, look, he is in the magistrate masquerading court issue right now. He is in the John Briggs confession issue right now, or, case, whatever. He is in the Leilani Hart's multiple confession issue. He's in the SB4 huge case going on. Richard is all over El Paso, all over. Soon to be more. He's in the Walmart mass shooting case. He is in the security breaches of Fort Bliss. He is absolutely all over El Paso and Fort Bliss. And yet, Bob Moore, he's in the Bob Moore case. Bob Moore is being investigated. He's in the Bob Moore case. Richard is in the usurpation of the 34th Judicial District Attorney's Office by Bill Hicks case. Richard is in the scheming by Bob Moore and Bill Hicks and Justin Underwood and John Briggs to remove a duly elected district attorney in the borderland. This is, it's not like a little county. This is El Paso, borderland, with so much criminal trafficking, and right there with Juarez, very important for the United States. And, and all of the money that we have put in for protection and oversight and criminal um, justice and law enforcement, and yet we have major problems, hundreds of thousands of unaccounted for children being mostly dead. We have pedophilia crazy. We have being reported incest that includes in the military. We have the lying to law enforcement. We have individuals masquerading as judges so that this can all be handled, so that the criminal trafficking can continue, so that the illegal um, extortion and destruction of El Paso County can continue. That's what that means. And yet, they cannot say Richard's name um, unless they want to smear him and put out evidence, more evidence. Let's put out more evidence of their collusion, their conspiring to turn Richard into something that could discredit him, and yet he has a totally clean record, an honorable record, and we see the weaponization against him. Why? Because he knew things. You see, my dad said it that he was in the orderly all the time. He was a guidon bearer. He was a distinguished undergraduate. He told my dad he was in the orderly room all the time. If he's in the orderly room all the time, he's with his platoon leader, Dallas Hart. He's there listening to First Sergeant Jay Paulin, First Sergeant Michael Ruggiero. He's guidon bearer. He's standing there. They might think he's like some statue while they go on and their bravado. Um, hey, my cousin is a CID agent. I can do what I want. Um, you know, and have you heard my mom uh, confessed to the FBI that, a 7-year-old was sexually assaulted in her master bedroom by multiple members of our household. And, we have the CID in the pocket. And did Richard hear stuff like that? What about the multiple shooters at the Walmart mass shooting? What about the getaway vehicle, the getaway van, right? The getaway van that everyone talks about, reports to us about. Um, and what about the brown tip bullets and the green tip bullets? And, if we heard about them and Richard was so close to the CID, because he aspired to be a CID agent, he filled out paperwork, and Marlon Soto absolutely knew and had communicated with Richard about that, about being a CID agent, and the steps forward to be one. So, all of it is there. And then you can add these other individuals in the mix of all of this, the rogue criminal group from Mortuary Affairs, from the El Paso Independent School District, from uh, from the IG, from DEA, agents, from the military, but also media, from media, and intelligence. Intelligence, don't forget about Jules Tuganon Chan. Absolutely intelligence. And there he is running the profitable, for-profit FitFam El Paso. And that hasn't disappeared. It's we're working on all of that behind the scenes. It's absolutely crazy because of all these LLCs the LLCs that connect them all together. They were in it for the money, y'all. They were in it for the money. They had their just because they're criminals, just because they're perverts, just because they are absolutely possessed by demons or whatever, doesn't mean they are stupid. They I think they're stupid, but that they're, didn't have a business plan going. They absolutely had a business plan, better than what I could do. They absolutely had their business plan. They helped each other out, and they had access to files, and you can see that very clearly that they had access to confidential files very easily, and that it's leaked out to who they want, and they used it. Um, and they knew when the soldiers got their bonuses, when they got paid, what their disability could be, what their SGLI is. They absolutely knew everything before we even knew anything. Um, they had um, their guy in the inside, as Lalani put it, my man in the inside. Um, and now, of course, Chris Martin is coming to the forefront on this, and the fabrication of the travel voucher is just an example. But also other connections. The LLCs connect so much, and so if we can discover this, the federal agents that are now, um, let's just say they're not part. Hopefully, we're praying that, well, just by their communication today and bringing Glendon Oakley Jr. in this, and that was big because they never had to mention Glendon Oakley Jr. And that is something that we've been praying for here at home because, of course, we're not privy to the information, but we know about Elder Fernandez's case. We have talked to his parents. We know how they can manipulate. We know that Glendon Oakley Jr. was absolutely severely retaliated against, and manipulated. They drive them to do certain things. That's what's so remarkable about Richard, because we know for sure that he didn't fall for their manipulation. Was he retaliated against? Absolutely. But just look at the way he responded, when they were trying to set him up. He didn't let anger take himself over. He was very respectful every time, um, throughout the whole video, everything. And through the videos about Belen, um, it was emotional because here she is so young, and his heart was breaking that these young children, really minors, were being sexualized, weaponized to be sexualized, and manipulated, hypnotized to think that they were being respected, to be, in porn, and, this sex cult. And, um, you know, I gotta take care of my own, right? I mean, they feed them all of uh, these lies, and they think it's true, and they get into these horrible situations. And so Richard's heart was breaking because he knew what was coming, and here she was, a young mother. He knew and she had just totally fell into them. I mean, she was just groomed, totally groomed. Fell into the trap, and it's so heartbreaking, and we need to really pray for wisdom for all these young people, that are just prey for these perverts, these absolutely perverted people, perverted demons, I call them, that prey on our young volunteer sons and daughters and the young people surrounding these military bases. There's so much money there, with the equipment, with the weapons, with the ammunition, with the young men desiring, they're young, full of vim and vigor. They're easily led into, partying and young girls, um, and then they get in trouble. Uh, they're so easily manipulated. And our military right now, it seems that the standard operating procedure has not been to create a disciplined fighting force, but to extort our young sons and daughters coming in. There's so much drugs in the barracks. They were flush with weapons. Uh, you know, Command Sergeant Major's bringing in girls, these young girls, and let me tell you what, I don't think he checked their ID to see how old they were. And then it happened to be during COVID, so he was even breaking orders. Um, and then gets, cushy job where he's, you know, it's Jerry Jakovitz. Yeah, enjoy it now. Enjoy it now. Uh, One day there won't be water for your tongue. So, it's just heartbreaking, but um, it's coming out, and we have to go through it to get accountability. It has to be done. If we don't get accountability, then the bravado of extorting and taking advantage, grooming, um, these perverts will get more bravado and do us more harm. And this whole conversation, I saw a little bit conversation about abortion and all of that. It's like, wait a minute, where's the conversation about the increasing rapes, the increasing incest, the increasing pedophilia? Um, it's like they want to create an environment so that people are so horrified, and then they have the need for these medical services that are just absolutely, well, I have my belief in it, but they don't talk about cracking down on all of these crimes against women, right? They don't do that. They allow it. And it's from young girls, not even women. These are young girls. These are young girls. And, of course, your heart breaks. So why don't they go to the source of it, the crimes that are being committed against them? And, I do know that the grooming and everything, you couldn't stop Boleyn if you tried. She was just so convinced that this was so respectable, and, she had to feed her own or whatever. Um, there's no stopping it. But that's because of developing this kind of lawless criminal grooming. Um, and then, you look at, where did that come from? Who allowed this to happen? Because, if this stuff wasn't going on, hundreds of thousands of unaccount, it's not like five children are unaccounted for that came into Fort Bliss. Now they're missing. They're missing. Where are they? Oh, they're mostly dead. It's not five of them. That's horrifying. We're talking about hundreds of thousands just in a few years. hundreds of thousands. You're talking about all kinds of talents in there, all kinds of unbelievable personalities with gifts. And they're coming in unaccompanied, and now they're unaccounted for, and then they're mostly dead. And no one even thinks of them as these beautiful human beings with minds and talents and futures and all of that. Where's the outrage? It is the most outrageous. And, I just picture Richard with his godson, and he was so proud to be a godfather and holding little James, and now James doesn't have a godfather, right? It's and he would love him because he has such a talent. He has so many talents, and he's getting bigger and bigger. So I think we're losing our humanity. And it's so good to hear that there is concern for Glendon Oakley Jr. Because if there's concern for Glendon Oakley Jr., then there's concern for who orchestrated and who else the Walmart mass shooting. Who had the M4s? Who was in that crowd with the M4s? And where did the brown tip bullets come from? Where did the green tip bullets come from? To hear that kind of concern was just super emotional today, because that concern validated, corroborated the concern for Richard. Because they go together. And then to be told, absolutely, we've been told so many things. People trying to, whisper in your ear, and, I remember Sean Bernabe, oh, it's because of you, and all this, those are the most dangerous people, when they try to just, instead of having an operational order, being in uniform, creating a task force, and doing their duty, they don't have an operational order, show up out of uniform, have no intention of ever getting justice, because they already know, lie to you about Nadal Baim, and everything about him, and also lie to you about the unit for Sergeant Michael Ruggiero, allow Nick Brown-Bell Nuffsinger, allow Allie Payne. Don't even tell you what's behind Allie Payne, who's behind Nick Nuffsinger, who's behind, don't tell you the connections with El Paso, and Michael Garrett, the 4-star general, and also Clem Coward and their connections. And then also don't tell you about Chris Martin and his connections. And then James Courtney Hart and Dallas Hart, Leilani Hart, and Tavita Nusa, and with Marlon Soto. Lie, right? And what they want to do is just kind of like charm you, like hypnosis with charming and everything. And, he needs to be he needs to be arrested. He needs to be tried. Court-martial him and strip him. Just take our stars back. Take that uniform off of him. Just let him have his underwear. And then they need to judge him for this treason, for this his absolute. I mean, they're such traitors, such traitors. And you think that I'm only thinking about Richard. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you know me already by now. But it's Asia Graham. It's Richard Halliday. It's Glendon Oakley Jr. It's, the 11 other soldiers that ended up in the hospital because they drank from the sealit antifreeze. It's it's the absolute theft of millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment and benefits and everything. The absolute dereliction of duty that is bringing our country down. Um, all the soldiers and yes, thank you, Danielle. Absolutely. I'm thinking about my husband. I'm thinking about every service member that has served honorably. And what does this do to them? The finding out the level of betrayal is it's so heartbreaking. And we need esprit de corps, and this damages esprit de corps. It damages the patriotism. It damages the love for our flag and our country and our countrymen. And they are such traitors and treasonous. Because we do live in this is our country. This is our country. And they're destroying it. And now we have to tell people that our country, our military base, contributed or even participated or even led the trafficking of hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied children. And pornography was involved, and drugs were involved, and weapons were involved, and the cover up, the orchestration of a Walmart mass shooting was involved, and the retaliation and murder and even the death, because I don't know yet with Glendon Oakley Jr., but I suspect it was foul play somehow, some way. But of the whistleblowers, because Asia Graham, absolutely, I talked to her mother. She had a big old binder. She was going to get justice for what had been done to her. And all they want to talk about is the abortion. They don't want to talk about all the crimes done to young girls, to females, to women. They don't want to talk about all of those crimes, the incest, the pedophilia, the rapes, the horrors. That could lessen the need for the medical care. That who knows what happens mentally, physically to these females after they go through that medical care. These are the most evil people for the buck. They want control, and they want to make a living off of everybody's misery, off of crime, off of uh, we'll be your grievance counselor. We'll be your grievance counselor, and we'll send you to mental health, and we'll take good care of you. Yeah. I mean, it's so terrible. And so today, knowing that the Walmart mass shooting case is absolutely being shaken. Thank you, Team Find Richard Halliday. We have, you have supported us, and we have been as relentless as we can possibly be in our little small position that we have. We don't have a whole big building paid for by the taxpayers of keyboard warriors, right? We don't have people in the IG and the VA. Well, I'm not saying we don't. We God provided, because we do have this connection with the military. We do have this connection with El Paso. I was born out at White Sands. I went to school in El Paso. I don't even know if they knew that. Rob went to school in El Paso. His 3 siblings were born at William Beaumont. I guess I didn't even know. And because we were able to create Team Farm Richard Halliday, to understand that we were being lied to, because that's a hard thing at the beginning, because you think, would the military that we served lie to us? Just to accept that things stink and that you're being betrayed is a big step. And then you can rally. And they kind of pushed us into that, because they said, now you have to be your own investigator for your son's case, right? Otherwise, we can't do anything. And then trying to push them. We're finding all this information. We're turning in all of these leads. And they're like, I think we'll put them in cold case. Really? You need to get a private eye. You need to spend money on a private eye. And then the private eye is even a setup, a frame job. Oh man, Hardy Hay called us. Hardy Hay from Houston, connections with Houston. Hey, I'm just watching you. I'm heartbroken. I have a great name of someone you can hire. That was all a frame job. All a frame job. See that those people that have that charmy stuff, it's so damaging when you find out that they're lying, because then the trust is broken, and then someone that really wants to help you, because I think the paranormal really wanted to help. And then everybody, like, you don't know to trust because you've been so mistreated. And I don't know if she was all, and I really just need to call her again, because all this stuff coming up with Chris Martin, then you get some people that really do want to help, but you don't know. And then they might get offended that you're not listening to them, or, you don't trust them. And that is exactly the procedure that they try to do. They try to, first they impersonate you so that they can get those people that really want to help, right? They get into your inner circle, and then they start retaliating against any of the witnesses, any of the information, and they twist it and turn it, and then you have to go back and see this. There's always a statute of limitations, so they're just prolonging. But in a capital murder case like Richard, there's no statute of limitations, thank God. But not all people are in that situation, and they get so manipulated that the time goes by, and then they can't do anything, and then the criminals get away with it, or the criminals get magistrated into this in front, because 90% of El Paso crime goes in front of this masquerading individuals that sit on the bench in the magistrate court. So every case is botched. And they're sitting up there on the bench with no authority at all, no legal authority at all. And they can tell you to take drugs, they can take your child away, they can put you in prison, they can, all kinds of stuff. And it's, if you're part of a criminal network, you're like, ooh, this is a great deal. This is a great deal because they are ripe for blackmail, or they are ripe to be part of it. If they're going to disobey the law by masquerading, which is such a crime, right? They can all be arrested, these 5 individuals. If they and don't think that they don't know. They absolutely know. They absolutely know. Um, so, if they're going to rule over people, do these rulings over people's lives illegally, unlawfully, without any authority, then what else are they doing? What else are they doing? And you noticed that in these multiple news releases about the Walmart mass shooting, because Patrick Crucius was brought before that masquerading magistrate court. The Judge Madrano has really no option, especially when it comes to John Briggs. They didn't mention that either in the articles about John Briggs being removed from the case. He's the assistant district attorney that was over the capital murder cases in the office, and he, along with Loretta Lynn Hewitt and others, assigned to the Walmart mass shooting case, which was a huge case. And, you're just, it's just such a big cash grab. If you don't care about justice, if you don't care about, El Paso, about the people in El Paso, about the future of El Paso, for you can just be a traitor and just be a cash grabber. And tug on people's heartstrings, on the victims' families' heartstrings, and just bring in that money from taxpayers and just let it go for years and years, 5 years, nothing, right? And now we find out through who? John Briggs's confession in his lawsuit against El Paso County, where he's confessing that he was removed in July of 2022 from the case and lied to Judge Madrano, pretending that he was still on the case. And we let everyone know that. We wrote all of these people and let them know, pointed that out about the court, about John Briggs's confession. And now we have law enforcement, not us, begging for new federal agents, but them things have broke so bad that they have no choice but to do it. And it's remarkable. And that they mentioned Oakley Jr., Glendon Oakley Jr., that was a huge blessing. Because that means there's a real possibility. And, all through this, you think, geez, are you going to lose your hope? the, after being betrayed and betrayed and betrayed and betrayed, um, are you going to lose your hope? And you know, that's been a big challenge. Is we just believe that in all of this, how much can all of these individuals take? You know, how can they sleep at night? How many haunted dreams can they take? They, it's just with all of this going on, how selfish can you be? How selfish can you be? There are, and that gives us hope because we absolutely believe that there are real demon possessed perverts in this breakaway rogue group that make money off of hurting children, and make money off of exploiting the military. But we also know that there are regular people. I don't want to say good people. There's not one of us is good, right? We're just regular people and we're trying to do the best, and we get into these bad situations and then we're like, what the heck am I doing? What I'm back, I'm getting out of this. I don't want it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. You know? So you get these regular people that come to their senses, and I think that well, and I know that that's what's happening. We're getting more and more people coming forward. We have the result of that is the federal agents now getting involved. More federal agents getting involved. We have, of course, so many of these agencies, but you cannot desert our institutions and our agencies, even though I firmly believe we would be better off not having a lot of these agencies. And you cannot just depart from them in the middle of this uh, really brutal crime. Um, you have to drive them to do what we pay them to do. You cannot just throw your hands up. You have to say, no, you're the FBI, you're the law enforcement, you're the IG. I mean, look, you've got Donna Martin over the IG having to uh, arrest herself. I better arrest myself the way I handled that Vanessa Guillen case and that Richard Halliday case. I mean, it's then you look at HRC and say, well, that had to be part of HRC. Um, yeah, she's gonna have to do the right thing. She's gonna have to do the right thing. So, and the question is, it's always like the most unlikely people that become the heroes. It's never who you think, you know? And those that you think that will, don't. It's really a lesson. But I do want to give you some really good news today that this whole Walmart mass shooting case is being totally earthquake. I mean, there is just shaking. And I've told everyone for a long time, if the Walmart mass shooting gets solved, then Richard's case will be solved. And through, and vice versa, and vice versa. And, even some of the victims, they were trying to smuggle guns in because they're just so desperate, I think, for justice. And that means our justice system has broken. It is. It's really broken. Let me hide my gun in my doggy no, in my baby doll carriage, or my baby carriage, or whatever. Um, that's just so wrong, because and I'm pro carry, right? But that's just so wrong, because we pay for a robust criminal justice system, and a very robust military, and a robust border, and a robust court system. We pay all, and it goes on and on. And we need to make sure that they do their job. Absolutely. And it's pretty sad that we have to make them carry out justice so that the victims' families can have peace. It's pretty sad. But here we are, and we're a victim's family. And so we absolutely understand how they feel. I don't want anybody to have to go through this hell, absolute hell, day in and day out. We're at 1,509 days. Um, but all of this, it's like more and more is being exposed. I never thought more would be exposed, but with Chris Martin, so much is being exposed, y'all. Oh my gosh. Um, that's a busybody. He's a busybody. Um, Lots of connections. So a lot is being exposed. I mean, it's kind of like Nadal Baim. He's a busybody, right? Uh, being a bidder for up to $3 million of ammunition. Where did that come from? Western Frontier Trading, who's involved with that LLC, and then um, being posing as a FBI agent, and which is an FBI agent because he never was arrested. So he's an agent for them somehow, some way, right? And saying that Richard's remains were found. And he's not telling us, he's telling a cashier, he's kind of confessing. That's another confession, right? Um, that they did find, you could take down the posters, and, uh, they found him, and it's not good. And he's dead. And shh, shh, don't tell the family. Don't tell the family. Why not? Why not? Because you're serving mammon and not God, not justice. And here you are, bidder to sell El Paso Police Department up to $3 million in total, in ammunition, totally in that law enforcement circle, um, and also in the car business, and not just any car business, but Mercedes repairs. Um, it's just, yeah. So when we finally are able to tell you everything about Chris Martin, it'll blow you away. It'll absolutely blow you away. And it will make sense. It will make sense, the investment that was made into this case, and then the flip flop, the investment in hatred, right? And debunking when it wasn't going their way with their charm, They're, yeah. Um, so it's really interesting how this case is being exposed. And I was thinking, wow, all this stuff with Chris Martin is big. And then we got the confirmation that Richard was absolutely code red, that it was an ordered, premeditated murder. An order. And that he knew things about the Walmart case that they're looking into now, and that they're looking into Glendon Oakley Jr. So thank you, everyone, for sticking with us, and keep praying. And, the time is short for the Harts, because they're absolutely the prime suspect with Tavita Nusa, their family member who was the rogue CID agent getting sexual favors from his family member. And he lost his badge. So thank you so much. Please share all this information. That is what we need. I had a friend that said, what can I do? I'm just one voice. What can I do? And I said, share. Share the information. Keep talking. Keep writing letters. Keep making flyers. Keep sharing the online presence that we have. That is so powerful. That's why free speech is so powerful, and that's why they want to shut it down. They don't want people talking with each other. So thank you, and please don't believe these narratives. The big narrative that really bothers me right now before I leave, and I was going to talk about this earlier, is that they are still trying to paint Patrick Crusius, who we are not defending him. In the federal court, he received a sentence of just about 1,000 years. He's going to prison, y'all. There's no walking that back. We thought, okay, if he's botched, would that be walked back? And our legal research said no, it's not going to be walked back. He was part of the Walmart mass shooting. And for his part in it, they gave him just about 1,000 years at the Alcatraz of the Rockies, which is a very high secure prison in Colorado. He is going to prison. That's the end of that. So we're not defending him. But what we're saying is that let's have the truth. And the truth is that it was orchestrated. And it was orchestrated for other reasons than what they said. And that no way was he capable? Does the forensic shows that he shot 46 people, 23 dead? No, absolutely. In that amount of time, with not a spot of blood on him, his shoes are clean, no sweat, nothing. The forensics doesn't show it. The pictures don't show it. There's so many abnormalities about the way, right away, that very day, they're saying, oh, he posted a manifesto. Yeah, right. Okay. And it happens to be an election, and it happens to be, political, because it was absolutely political. And then you had Chris Cuomo, who absolutely needs to go to prison, go with Ernest Christopher Grant, the media sweetheart, to create and fabricate Look, right in that hospital, he had it on the hospital desk right there so you could see it, the El Paso Strong sign. They already had all of this orchestrated, how they were going to hypnotize the people around the world, not just in El Paso, around the world, and um, and then blame it on racism. Blame it on racism. And then attach that racism to the candidate that they didn't want. That, you know, and absolutely look, Patrick Crusius came from not Dallas, from San Antonio. Look, I know San Antonio. I know the Riverwalk. I know I know the good food. Look, that is a Hispanic city. If uh, you don't need to be driving all the way to El Paso if you feel like, you're I mean, the narrative is so stupid. It's so lame. It's so shallow. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Just like with Richard, it never fit. It never fit his personality. It never fit the truth. It never fit the timing. It never fit the forensics. It never fit ever. It never fit his talents. I know his talents. It never fit. And this whole thing, how they're trying to paint Patrick Crusius, and he goes and he surrenders himself to Hispanic law enforcement. And then he comes into the court. He's all so nice. He pays attention. He's all so nice. And now they're putting out there 5-year-old video of him the only time that he showed up public. The only time, 5 years. He's 5 years older now. He has sat in isolation for 5 years. He's not going to look like that video that they've been showing in the news. He looks different now. He's a different person now. And they're trying to frame a narrative because on Thursday they're going to have this court thing, right? Hopefully Judge Medrano will do the right thing and send Patrick Crusius to the Alcatraz of the Rockies. But the amount of grief, they're, we'll counsel you in grief. No, this drawn out 5 years, all of this money, the high inflation, the high taxes, because we have to pay millions and millions of money to cash grab attorneys. That's what it seems like to me. Maybe I'm wrong. To get nothing, not even a mental health evaluation. 5 years. When he's been convicted and sentenced already. And then you find out that the whole system in El Paso is just all gummed up and it's just, yeah. So thank God for the federal court. Thank God. Yeah. So now they're gonna federal agents are gonna get to the bottom of this. And this race is to divide us as a people. I've traveled all over the world. We are the least racist country. I'm not saying we don't have racism. We have racism on every side, right? I mean, it's just human nature. None of us is good. Not one of us. Some are just totally bad and perverts. and criminals. And some of us can restrain ourselves and do the right thing and fear God. And but I'm telling you, I've been to a lot of countries. Um, we are the most inclusive. We're so inclusive. So I and that's why the situation that we're in right now, because I don't think that that could happen in any other country. We love immigrants and migrants and people from all over the world so much, and we want to give them a chance so bad that they were this criminal pervert group trafficking hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied children got away with it for so long. They took advantage of our desire to be inclusive and to let people come into this country. I don't think that would happen anywhere else. Germany just closed its borders. You couldn't do that in South Korea, not in Japan, not in Russia, not in China, not in Ireland. They're already kicking out people. Switzerland, no way. France, no way. Look, they brought in all these people, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to be very interesting what happens in France. Um, so, I don't know what the answer to this all is, except for one. And that is, we have the Constitution, we have the Texas Constitution, we have our Bill of Rights. We need to follow them, we need to apply them, we need to establish them, we need to respect them. And yeah, anyway, we need justice, and we need to drive our system to work, ungum it up. Thank you so much. Oh, here, Danielle, you're not giving him a mental health evaluation is against his civil rights. Oh, yeah, putting him in front of the magistrate court that is masquerading individuals as judges without being elected when they have county-wide jurisdiction. El Paso County is huge. They have county-wide jurisdiction. They have mega power in the borderland. The Texas Constitution says when a court has that kind of power, they have to be elected. They have to be elected. They cannot just be appointed and masquerade as, officials as government officials and then, rule over the people. They can't do it. That's called official oppression. And that's what they've been doing. And that's what they did to Richard. They unlawfully imprisoned him. And any true elected judge, any judge worth their salt, right? Or however you want to say it, however the saying goes, would have said, what the hell is a canine cop doing in this case? What the hell is a canine cop doing at midnight in a parking lot, conducting a traffic stop? Right? They would have smelled the frame job. They would have smelled the setup. And they would have said, let me see that body cam footage. But Richard was unlawfully imprisoned by a masquerading, unauthorized, no legal power, but yet sitting on a bench, lording over, doing the will of criminals. Criminals. Especially when he was, my comments, top comments. Especially when he has a disability. The mental evaluation should have been prior to. Yeah, and the news coverage, does do the schizo, that one severe mental health condition. But we have it confirmed that he also is autistic. He has several mental health conditions. Um, yeah. Should have been prior to court proceedings due to his mental impairment. Prior, just my opinion, absolutely. Watch 13th on Netflix. Okay. Um, Thank you for your prayers, Ruth. Not giving him a mental health evaluation is, yep, exactly. Oops. And my phone is a little bit. It's not letting me see my comments. Oh, there they are. Okay. If a lawyer or judge didn't order a mental health evaluation, this is in violation of civil rights with anyone with a mental disability. But understand this. Patrick Crucius was brought into a court in front of a bench with no judge. That wasn't a judge. It was a masquerade. And so that was against his civil rights. Every individual, this is thousands, that were brought in front and are brought right now in front of those 5 criminals. They are criminals. They absolutely know what they're doing. You don't have that kind of power and have that kind of backing and don't know that you are disobeying the law. They are absolute criminals and they're masquerading, pretending, sitting. I don't even want to call they're just masquerading individuals sitting on the bench in the court, lording over the people, ruling over the people, determining things that change their lives. From you will take this mental pill or whatever medication to I'm taking your child away, or no, we're going to leave this child with this pervert. Whatever. Whatever they're ruling, they're doing it illegally. Yes. Sorry, when I think of what they did to Richard and what they did to Glendon Oakley Jr., what they did, look, the other thing too, is that Patrick Crucius, whatever you feel about him, he still is supposed to go through the system and be able to tell us why or whatever, get his due process, because he's facing the death penalty. He gets the shot in the arm. You can't take that back. So you got to give them the due process. Make sure the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed before you put a lethal injection into somebody. And that's why from here, as much as my emotions want me to let my tongue go and say things and wish things, I hold back. Because the prime suspects, Leilani Hart, Tavita Nusa, Dallas Hart, and I would include like Jonathan Ambrose, and there's a whole group, criminal group. They need to be put through the due process. And then the leaderships that covered this up, that lied to us, they need to be put through the due process. And we need to dot our I's and cross our T's. If we're going to have a country, that we could, trust each other, we've got to demand this due process in our criminal justice system. And it needs to be equal justice, lady justice. And they need to be heard. The story, the information needs to come out, because I sure don't know everything. I know that they're a criminal because we were the victims of their criminal behavior. But that needs to be in the court, decided in the court, and then the punishment needs to be ruled when all that information is heard. Do I think that the death penalty should be on the table in front of all of these criminals? Yes. Yes. I do believe that. So, I don't know what else to say besides that, except for pray, and everything's getting shaken up, and yeah, pray that this breaks, but all in God's timing. All in God's timing. That's all I could say. God bless you. Thank you, Danielle, for making these great points, and they always jog my memory, and all the discussions that we have here in our Team Farm Richard Holiday headquarters, and we are just very appreciative for everybody, and that will all, yeah, that'll all be shown. So thank you so much. God bless you, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye.